Neuralgia. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet people. My name is Rebecca Tonell, and I'm the Outreach and Education Coordinator here at the Chapman. It's nice to see you guys for what's truly going to be a one-of-a-kind experience, I think. This is a part of our series Conversations for the Past. We do this every month, and this lucky month of March is Craig Murphy's month. So our presenter tonight is Craig. He's been a practitioner of 19th century photographic processes for over 10 years, and he travels with his mobile Tintypes studio to locations all across upstate New York. He makes heirloom portraits and scenic views, and the techniques he uses are pretty similar to the ones used by Seneca Ray Stoddard and other prolific photographers of the 19th century. And the process is steeped in tradition, and the images he creates can be passed on from generation to generation. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and welcome Craig Murphy to the floor.
Yeah, that's a very archival process. So yes, 150 years from now to look at. Thanks for coming. And the last time I did one of these, we had kind of a setup like this with different things. And at the end, people said, we didn't label them, so we didn't really know what we were looking at. So I'm just going to briefly go through what's around here. And later on, you come off, you can pick these up. This is Brownie camera, thanks to Kodak. These are different prints. Some of them are tintypes. Some of them are prints of a printing out process that uses like glass plates with sensitive paper behind them. These are cases. These are original cases. There were lots of these made. This is an example of a dry plate that I'm making the emulsion now and making the plates. This is a little bit of Sanderac. This is the varnish that gets used. It smells very nice if you want to come up with smell. This is a dark box. I mean, you'll see Seneca Ray Stoddard. It's a dark box. I have a picture of that here. It's kind of similar. Some modern things in PVC behind this, but that then. I get to use a light with vacuum on it. They depended upon just window light. Although there were gas or lamps that sometimes we use. So all the chemistry is in there, and I'll use that later. I'm going to make a tintype. Taking pictures of buildings. You can see. I'm sure you recognize this building. And this is a good example of tintypes are direct positive. So everything is reversed. Any kind of lettering is reversed. These two pictures here, this is the actual tintype, and this is a print made from that where I could flip around negative that reads right there. Photography, it starts with this camera obscura. Well, photography doesn't, but people are aware of what happens when you have a little tiny hole in a wall in a dark room. And this is basically what this lens does, is it turns everything upside down and flips it around. So that was, when I did reading about this, people have been aware of this in BC, they knew about how camera obscura works. This is another example. Things progressed. People started putting lenses on them. The same concept. I've seen pictures of a lens on a wall, a mirror here, another mirror here, and people drawing what they were seeing from outside. So these little slides are basically like important points in time, the discoveries that push things along as far as learning about photography or how it actually worked. So this fellow Schultz here, he discovered that the chemical action of light turns silver dark as opposed to heat. And there's a secret. So what he did was, put nitric acid, some chalk, and silver nitrate, which is what I'm using, the dark box there. Stuck this on a shelf in the light, and everything that was exposed turned dark, and everything that's covered up didn't stay white. So that was like, oh, light changes silver nitrate. Wedgwood's son, the potter. This was his son. So he started messing around with spreading silver nitrate on leather and paper and throwing leaves on there and bringing it out in the sun. And now you've got a picture of the leaf. A contact print of the leaf. So he's messing around with this, and word gets out because a friend of his, Humphrey Davy, saw what he was doing and published it. And once you publish something, now it's going around to everybody. So it made its way around, and different people were trying to figure out what to do with silver nitrate and how to make a photograph. And so over in France, Joseph Niepce was working with a lot of different things. He was an amazing person. But he discovered that asphalt, or I guess it was known that asphalt gets hard when it gets hit with sunlight. So what he did was took a piece of pewter, covered it with this bitumen of Judea, basically asphalt, put an etching on it, and was able to get images of the etching. Then he eventually put it inside an actual camera, and he set it out, pointing out his window. And that's the picture that he took.
Oh my God.
That's the oldest known in-camera image.
What year was this?
It was, 1826, 1821.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the whole, like, who discovered what and who was doing this and who was doing that. It's impossible to know everything.
Yes.
Because they were all doing offshoots, but these were like the major points. So this image originally was thought, and I think this was lost. They thought it was lost, but then somebody found it in Oklahoma or somewhere. I forget it. And it was originally thought it took about 8 hours to expose, but there was more thought given to it. Different people looked at it, and they think it was more like 2 days, 2-day exposure.
Wow.
So like, don't bump your tripod. At the 20th hour. And you can still see this wherever it is. It's in a museum somewhere. So Niepce paired up with Daguerre. It actually was Daguerre that bugged Niepce to let's mess around with all this. Niepce died a couple of years after they got together, and so Daguerre went on a different direction and came up with the daguerreotype. 1839, he does a big presentation, and he's the man now. The daguerreotype. His name's on the Eiffel Tower. And if you go and you look, it says Daguerre. And
did he do all glass or some chip?
the daguerreotype is copper plates coated with silver. I'm glad you asked, because there's more to talk about. With polished silver. It's, now I don't know how to do the process. I have friends that do it. And if you've never seen a really well done daguerreotype, they're unbelievable. I mean, there's nothing any better nowadays than, the quality of the daguerreotype. And they're very hard to look at. You have to look at them in the right direction. Turn this way, they turn negative. And, it's kind of weird. Well, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I've watched demonstrations of how to do daguerreotypes. There's a guy up in Dr. I can't remember his name, up in Toronto that is like the daguerreotype guy. And if you want to learn how to do daguerreotypes, he's giving a class in New York City called up. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing process. Yeah, for silver, it has to be very shiny, so there's buffing, and, there's a method to doing it where you're supposed to do 50 buffs this way and 50 buffs that way. So, at the same time that the Daguerre is in, France, Talbot is in England. And, oh, getting back to the Daguerre, this was kind of funny. He gave the, process to the French government. They gave him, 6,000, whatever, a year. And, actually, yes, his son was kind of involved with this too, 4,000. And, it was okay, so now anyone could use the daguerreotype process without having to pay for it, except if you were in England. If you were English, you had to pay, so. He's working on, the salt prints actually, and then the calotype, which basically introduces the negative positive process. So he's got, the calotype was a paper negative. He made it with, silver chloride, silver iodide. He wound up publishing a book, Pencil in Nature. There's pictures around his house and whatever. So this is the beginning of the negative positive process, because now he can make prints. And, you know, there are two different factions, like the daguerreotype people, he's the inventor. You know, photography, and other people were with, Talbot, you know, the Talbot gang. But I kind of feel that this kept going, you know, the daguerreotype disappeared pretty quick. As soon as, well, one of the problems they had was being able to stop the, silver from turning dark. And both of them had trouble doing this. So they wound up asking this Sir John Herschel, to investigate, and he came up with sodium thiosulfate, which is the fixer. So now they could stop the image from getting further dark. And then while he was trying to figure that out, he came up with the cyanotype blueprints, which were used, you know, till when, 60s maybe? Blueprints with the actual cyanotype. And there was a woman, Anna Atkins, that produced a really nice book of botanicals using the cyanotype process, basically contact prints. All right, now we're getting into the collodion age, which is what I know a little more about. And Gustave Le Gray is one of the people who's talking about collodion being a vehicle for holding the silver salts. And, he published some theoretical stuff, but he didn't actually publish a how-to. But he was famous for his seascapes, because this process is only sensitive to the ultraviolet end of the spectrum. It doesn't see red, it doesn't see green very well. That's why when you look at a lot of these pictures, there are no clouds. You know, everything's white. It's because you can't get an exposure for the foreground and exposure for the sky at the same time. So he was doing two different glass plates and he was sandwiching them together. So he would photograph clouds and then sandwich them together and make prints. So he got kind of famous for his seascapes. And this is a picture of him, and I have it here just because it's such a great picture.
Don't look at his face.
Now, here it is. Here he is, Frederick Scott Archer, the inventor of the wet plate collodion process, which pretty much kicked the daguerreotype to the curb pretty quick. Because now you can make prints. What I'm doing here is a tintype. Tintypes didn't really, it's the same process, but they were later. He didn't think about tintypes. What he was doing was making electrode negatives. And so the process is a little different. Chemistry is a little bit different. There's some sort of redevelopment involved. I've never done negatives. But anyway, in 1851, he published his findings in tennis. All right, so, this is an example of, an ambrotype, which is a tintype on glass.
Huh.
And, you can see there's not a whole lot of silver on there. Everything you see is metallic silver. And an ambrotype needs a black, backing. But what you see when it goes, the black backing, right? Yeah, that's Grant Cottage.
Good at it.
I go up there every now and again out there, taking pictures of, last time it was on, Grant was actually there. So this is the process kind of. I have, floating is, cotton, ether, nitric acid, dissolves the cotton, and now they have, some people say gun cotton because it exploded, but it wasn't really gun cotton, it was refined more than that, so it wasn't as explosive. My collodion here has two different salts in it. And I'm using cadmium bromide and potassium iodide, really, like, I don't know, 2 grams, 2.5 grams. This gets put on the plate, like you'll see. That gets dipped into the silver nitrate bath. And once that happens, the bromide and the iodide, you wind up with silver iodide and silver bromide. Those are the halides that are now sensitive to light. And what happens is, we make an exposure, and, the sunlight hits this bright, and this is dark, and, whatever you're taking a picture of. So whatever, of those that got hit by light are more excited. They're excited now. They've, I don't know the chemistry, but what exactly they're excited. But they're excited to the point where when I poured the developer on, it causes the silver nitrate that's in there to attract it. So it'll attract it more or less, the dark spot, or not at all. Everything you see on a completed plate is metallic to certain degrees. So the funny thing about the silver nitrate, I was going to bring some silver nitrate with me. God, it's just like, it looks like sugar, but I get it from a friend of mine in Alma, Artcraft Chemicals. So last time I got it, which was only about a week ago, he dropped it off at my house. Because he comes up here and he gets all his silver nitrate from Ames. Ames, they're like the biggest silver producers in the world. Right here in Glens Falls. And, South Glens Falls and Glens Falls, right? Yeah. But, and Mike he's one of the biggest suppliers to the wet plate community of silver nitrate and other chemicals. The ISO of collodion is very slow. You buy film, it's ISO 100, ISO 200. Collodion is about ISO 1, maybe 2. That's why there was no action photography in the Civil War. Let's see. So I have this here because I just get a kick out of the advertising and the flowery language of the photographer's ads back then. I think if I had a Tintype studio around, I would have my ads look like that. Who would respectfully inform the inhabitants of that he has taken rooms. So I get a kick out of that. All right. Matthew Brady. All right. Civil War photographer. Since I was on my motorcycle, I had a motorcycle, and took a picture that's up on Route 28 on the way right before you get into Weavertown, like in between, right after the bridge. debate about whether he was actually born up here. I watched one woman talking about female photographers in the Adirondacks. And she thought that he wasn't really, he was probably born in Ireland, but only said he was born here because maybe the Irish didn't get treated so well. But who knows, you know. This is a picture of him when he got back. He's the first battle of Bull Run. Very interesting. He kind of had to scatter with all the rest of the people. I thought it would be fun to watch the battle, and found out that it wasn't all that much fun. He got back a little run. I've been reading about this. He's pretty dirty up. It looks like he probably walked all night to get out. Somebody mentioned that this looks like the tail end of the sword. Maybe somebody gave him a sword to protect himself as he was trying to get back to where he was going. Well, most people know about Matthew Brady, right?
I believe I've seen that picture before.
Yeah, well, it's a very popular one. Yeah. I'd like to have a duster like that.
Yeah, I was getting a nice boat.
So Brady was really the gallery owner. He had people working for him. And one of his probably his most famous employee who stopped being an employee after a while. He got tired of Brady getting credit for all this photography, so he went out on his own. Alexander Gardner came over from Scotland, and he is most famous for his Gettysburg pictures. Maybe you've seen the sniper's den at Devil's Den.
Oh, yes.
With the soldier on the ground, who he and his team dragged over there to get a better picture. I also read about that back then it wasn't really looked upon, or it looked down upon for photographers to be moving people around, because that same soldier is seen in two different photographs. And his most famous stuff is the Antietam, when he went to Antietam and photographed all the dead Confederates and Bloody Lane there. So this whole, getting into this whole process was great because it kind of spurs on all the historical stuff. So of course, you know, you wind up going to Antietam. You've been to Gettysburg twice. You know, you get to stand right where Alexander Gardner was. And he took pictures of all those soldiers, which I think is kind of neat. This is his wagon. For an exposure, depends, could be real quick, can be out in the sunlight, it could be, boom, could be too fast.
All these are originally Tintypes.
What's that?
All these are originally Tintypes. The Civil War. Yeah.
No, these were glass negatives.
Oh, okay.
Brady, they never shot Tintypes. What are they gonna do with Tintype? They can't make money off of it.
Yeah.
Tintypes is one of a kind.
Well, I see a lot of Civil War soldier pictures.
Yeah, a lot of what he did were stereo views. So they can make prints out of those, and they can also do the stereo view thing.
Do Gardner's photos demand the money of the same as Brady's?
I don't know.
I've never heard of Gardner's.
Yeah.
I know Brady's are worth $1 billion.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably because Brady got credit for all the things. But it's so funny about him, like to the website world, but Alexander Gardner, and you look at the Lincoln conspirator, the hanging of the Lincoln conspirators that he did. There were a couple of times there. And it just blows my mind that he had to be communicating with the soldiers, because this is a timed thing. This is not where we're gonna do it in 2 minutes, and it really doesn't happen until 10 minutes, because this doesn't wait. And, you know, he got timed pictures of those people here, here. It's just remarkable. This is supposed to be his wagon. You can see tripod there. That's his dark box, kind of like this thing here. All right, now we're in Seneca Ray Stoddard. Everyone in the museum knows him. I have this here, he's doing wet plate here, not silver gelatin dry plates. And this picture kind of spoofs me because that dark box is like very precariously set here. And I'm wondering, I don't even know if that's him, so maybe somebody knows. And it's directly into the sun, so it could have been set up just for the picture. Same with this one. I look at this and I'm going, all right, what is he doing here? He's got his dark box, he's got one window, and he's filtering something, and I'm saying to myself, well, what is he filtering? Why would he be doing that now? But it's a posed picture, most likely. These are probably glass plate cases. Trays here, I don't know what he was doing with trays. So who knows what he's actually doing. And I have this in here quickly because this was a process that wasn't really a photo process. It started out as a photo process by gelatin hardening by light. It's a lead sheet with molded. This is a photomechanical process where they use a press to make the pictures. And it was very much, this made printing in newspapers and magazines easy. And there's a Woodbury type of Danny Oakley. All right, Petzl lens. Joseph Petzl invented this lens, and that's the configuration. This lens here I have is, I don't know, mid-1800s. I got it from Poland. It was made in London. It's a Darlow. So the rear end of this is exactly the same as that. Front end is two cemented pieces. Of course, there were no irises in there, so Waterhouse stops and how you block light from getting in there. And I'm not sure with that tonight. It's built on a camera. It's big.
Is that magnified at all, or is that just a straight image?
It's an image. Different lenses have different focal lengths. So is it magnified? Not really, but the closer I get, the bigger somebody's head's going to be, and the further away, I have to rack the bellows out. So it does magnify. Yeah. And it has certain characteristics. You can see a Petzl lens. You see a little bit of swirly stuff up there. That bokeh, that's indicative of this lens, the Petzl design. But one of the nice things about shooting with a lens like this is the glass that's in there, you can't get that glass anymore. You can't make that. And so it has that look, and only Petzl lenses can have that look. You can hand tint Tintypes, Ambrotypes. There were people that were very good at this. The hand tinting really went to artists that were practiced at actually making very tiny things. The sizes, full plates. There were no 5x7s back then. There were no 4x5s. The biggest size was a whole plate. We actually have a whole plate of case, great frame, 3 grades. So silver gelatin dry plates. That's a silver gelatin dry plate. It's a negative. This is, I just started doing this, so I'm not like, this is obviously kind of an issue with the emulsion. This is, I'm going to sacrifice 4x5 here. Once I take it out, it's not good. So this is the beginning of, this is what a silver gelatin dry plate looks like before it goes into the camera. So Stoddard would have been buying these plates because once he got into dry plates, he wouldn't have to be dragging his dark box around. And so he could go out, expose 20 of these, and then process them 2 months later. You know, you can go on vacation. So, this plate here is, these are in the process of drying. I pour it on, I pour a puddle on, you move it around, pour off the excess. And then you sit on I have a level, piece of marble tile. And, let them cool, put them in a rack, let them dry overnight, stick them in a box and take them with you. The way they used to make these, and this formula I'm using is an original 1880s formula. So this lasted a while until 1888 when we have George Eastman. Now, once they were able to put this on flexible film, it led to everything, movie film, movies. You can get one of these, it comes loaded with film, send it back, and make it prints. So originally they were done by hand, just like I'm doing. And, you have a bunch of people doing them with the emulsion. And they would have, like a platform above them with ice to let cool air come down onto the plate, so they didn't have to sit there that long. So the gelatin, silver gelatin, would harden, stiffen up.
Harden and cold.
Yeah, you can gelatin, cold, because. Right, yeah. So now let's make a tintype. All right. I have something up here. I was gonna hand these out. Or you can take one if you want. But Mark Offerman used to be the process historian of the George Eastman Museum. And he created this map here of all the different processes and where they took off and what came first. And it's an amazing little map of things. So if you want one, you can grab it. He told me it was okay to give it out. And seriously, anybody wants to learn how to make anything, any kind of process, he teaches them up his house now. The guy, he's amazing. So we're gonna make a tintype. So this camera, this is probably early 20th century. The lens is actually from Crane. Can you come over? All right. So you're gonna sit right here. And you don't even have to look into the light, you just have to. All I want to do is kind of line you up. Okay. I'm not going to flat it. No, have a seat. All right, we're good for now. You don't have to say that. We can come back. Do it again, but I just want to get kind of general. So you can get up now. Come back when we're ready. All right, so this is the tintype process. You're gonna smell ether. If anybody has an issue with the ether smell, I love to smell ether in the morning. Yeah.
I'm pretty great sleep.
I don't like to knock out people.
No, not yet. All right, so we're using aluminum. This is actually trophy material. I also make black Japan plates, which is what they had, out of sheet metal. So here we go. We'll do. Do this right. I don't. So that's a skill right there. Yeah, it takes a while to not make a mess of it. friend. I was just gonna,
You ever get sleepy doing it?
huh?
Ever get sleepy doing it?
No, but I do wonder about if I'm in here too long, indoors, whether, I have a headache the next morning, you know? All right, so here it goes, into the silver nitrate. Boom. Now it's light sensitive. Now it needs to be in the dark. So I'm gonna sit there, it's gonna sit there for 3 minutes. And, so this is exactly the thing, this solder thing to use out, when you use using glass. I don't think you. Tintype, the word is actually copyrighted or whatever in 1856, whereas Frederick Scott Archer was 1851. Somebody in the United States said, "Oh, no, I'm going to trademark or copyright." Sure. All right, so this waits, and turn my dark light on. And that's it. Now we wait. It's much easier to kind of. Huh?
I see your windows tinted red. What's the filter on the window?
I haven't used this. What did I put on there? I think that's just like photographic gel, like a red gel. But I've also got a UV thing on here too. So,
CUV you want to keep out.
yeah, no UV. Yeah, well, and it actually doesn't see yellow either, so this Kodak filter, it's not gonna see this. You can use it. Yellow is a little easier to use. Dark box. And
So that's how they saw the process, was that window, they did everything inside that window.
that's what you mean, like,
When you, you cover yourself, the only light coming in is through that window.
yeah. So if they were out, that little window he had there, I don't know, there are like, you see them for sale every now and again on eBay, lamps that people could use in here, like kerosene lamp or something, you know, that would throw out a red light. But, what happens in 3 minutes? It just, is the amount of time kind of that it takes to totally do what it's gonna do. Yeah, so those halides now, the two salts are combining with the silver nitrate. And now here, when I take this, yeah. No gelatin. That's just with the dry places. There.
Yeah.
All right, we're there. Now, I have to go dark.
Bye.
Right.
You better light it up.
So, yeah, this is slow photography. Nothing happens quick.
So in that box, that you put that black, is it glass or?
No.
No.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Tintypes.
You put it in there, is there that, it's full of liquid?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's
And why is it that it's?
probably, I don't know, it's just,
Oh,
people
on
make them.
one side.
yeah, keep it, yeah, right. Okay, so, yeah, our model.
No.
And our assistant. Oh, go ahead, see, just like you had. So you could, turn it that way, you don't have to look into this.
It's gonna be very bright.
So you're gonna be here. course, was an outdoor thing to do.
That's why you're imitating light.
Yeah. But we have to do this. You know, I know people that have built from scratch their own skylight studios. Because that's how most of this was done, skylight studio. And so you would be. And let's see. All right, I'm gonna flash this. Give you get an idea where I'm at.
So what are you putting your ISO at?
3.
This is not something you do outside.
No, they do it. It's an outdoor thing. Skylight Studios, that's why they had head braces behind people. Because you would be in a Skylight Studio and your exposure might be 6 to 8 seconds. And it's not so easy to hold still. Your heartbeat. All right, I'm gonna flash it. Okay? You can feel this.
Did you feel it?
My God. 60.
I'm gonna actually, get a little closer.
Need to further.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. We can't spend too much time doing this. All right. All right, now I gotta line myself up again. Right. Close enough. So the plate's in here now. In the camera. All right, so you don't have to look here if you don't want the bright light. You can look out that way. There you go. Yeah. All right.
Oh, there you go.
I like that.
All right, and here we go. All right, that's it.
So is that wet when you put it in there?
It's wet. It's gotta stay wet. This has to stay wet. That's why you have to have wet. So I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna pull that plate out. I'm gonna go across it with the developer. I'm gonna sit there and watch it. When I think it's done, I'll stop it and we'll come out and we'll look at it. All right, we have an image. Water. This is washing the developer off. So you don't want any developer on it, you put the fixer on.
How long would that last before it starts cleaning up?
This won't go dark. Oh, if I didn't fix it?
Yes.
I don't know. And so a lot of the Civil War stuff, you'd wonder, how do they carry all this water around? Well, if you really know what you're doing and you're confident in your exposures, et cetera, you could go to this point here and then cover this with a mixture of glycerin and water, 50-50. And glycerin never dries. So you could shoot all this, not have all this water. I mean, you probably need some water.
You gotta do all this with bullets whizzing by your head and cannons going on.
They never did.
That's pretty brave.
There are no Civil War, although that's debatable. I saw a picture where somebody was claiming that they were able to get a tintype with monitors
Oh,
out
okay,
at sea.
but they're moving, so.
Well, and they're not very fast,
That's
but that's why it's all scenics and posed soldiers and dead soldiers. got this here. Wasn't the best place to be able to see it. Down on the floor. Sure. Here. These are old flash units. Waiting. So yeah, this is sodium thiosulfate in here. One of the fixers. So what this does is wash away all the unexposed silver. Okay. Cover it here.
It's like, wow.
It's more than that. I think it'll get the top of it. Oh, yeah. Get to barely. So, this is going to. Thiosulfate takes. Getting clear.
What do you do with all your chemicals?
Well, this stuff here, sodium thiolate, you can drink this. So, you drop.
That sounds good.
Developer, it's very sulfate, it's iron, you know, so it's really nothing. We'll buy, you know. Goes well with these.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, see what we got here?
You come a long way.
There it is. There. Oh, this worked out good.
See?
Kind of like the background too. Now, the traditional, you could use ammonium sulfate. The traditional fixer that they used in the 1800s was potassium cyanide.
Oh, great.
And, yeah, so ammonium sulfate works a little quicker than this. That's what they use back then. Oh, well, and this also.
Do they have a lot of explosions from all their chemicals and fires?
The only, really the dangerous thing here is silver nitrate. It's not dangerous in a sense it's going to explode, but you don't want to get it in your eyes. You know, if I didn't have glasses on, well, some people say, well, you should wear safety glasses. No problem here. So this could sit here for a little bit, but this came out nice.
Sure did.
I got a friend that worked over at Ames Goldsmith, and he got a little in his eyes, and it really affected him.
Do you remember the Blue Man?
Yeah.
He walked around. I saw him hanging sometimes. And I was talking to Mike from Artcraft, the guy that does all the chemicals. And he knew about this guy. I don't think he's alive anymore.
What happened there?
Exposed to silver.
You worked there for so many years, that you were exposed to silver, and it turned his skin blue.
Yeah, like my hands, if I don't wear gloves, these will get a little black. You can see it starting here. Silver is turning.
James is got that blue look to him
Want that
too.
in your eyes?
It's not as bad, but you can see it. You look sick, man.
Oh, yeah. So this comes out. It gets washed like any kind of piece of film. Because now you have to get rid of this fixer, you don't want it on there. And the last step is to coat it with varnish. So as far as this whole process goes, there's a lot of steps that things can go wrong. And this is the last one. Varnishing, somehow I mess it up or Some people have varnish that will dissolve a collodion. If the collodion is old, weak, and the varnish has too much alcohol in it, and they know their place, they go, "Oh, this is awesome." They pour the varnish on, and the plate goes.
They have to dry.
And there's a definite method to it, putting it on, getting it off, getting it on the heat quick. If I don't get it on, and I don't evaporate the water, the alcohol that's in there, you get dry. Anybody that does varnishing, I guess knows it. Varnish. Try not to do it on really humid days. Better to do it on a dry day. So if you want to look at this stuff, feel free. Any other questions?